We're going to have our introduction going, and Justin's going to be just talking in the background. Welcome to the next episode of Business from A to EZ. We're excited to be back. Sorry we missed a couple of weeks. We have businesses that we run, and we had to run them, so we weren't able to get quite here to our recording. So we apologize for that. But we are excited to be back. Today we are going to be talking about mission. So Justin, take it away.
So before we kind of dive into the content and the episode and everything, we did have, one question come through. And it was basically surrounded around the idea of how to set price. This is a wide range, a very broad question, depending on what field you're in and everything. But it's basically, how do you know how to set your price, or what's your cost and that kind of thing. So, Tucker, I know Zach and I are really curious to hear what you have to say, because you're on more of the corporate side. You run a restaurant, which restaurants have a lot of overhead. But if you want to talk about kind of how that relates to you right now as Chick-fil-A, as a restaurant, without, giving away any of your secrets that you're not supposed to, but maybe even also from the window side too. I'm sure pricing looks a lot different nowadays, for us than what it did when you were doing windows. But if you want to talk about a little bit about how you set your price back when you started windows and when you were doing that as well.
Yeah, well, the short answer is I don't get to set the price. Chick-fil-A does. That's great. But I think if I think back to like window cleaning, it was, I had no idea what I was doing. And so I just kind of looked at the competition and set a number based on that. And then, as I had an increase of expenses, and it really came down to knowing my numbers in that respect. I remember when I was working, I had no idea what to charge, so I was just charging what I felt was right, and I'd work like a dog just to make money. And then once I realized what I needed to make for a living wage and to cover expenses and to have the business to have profit to keep moving forward, that really affected how I structured my days. So like before, I'd work from sun up to sundown, and I'd be home like at nine at night. And number one, family didn't like that. Number two, customers didn't like that. And so once I knew my numbers, knew what the cost of things were, I was able to be home by 5 o'clock every day. So I think as you start out, you can look at, I just Googled the competition, and a lot of times they had their pricing on their website, and that kind of gave me a general idea of what you needed to make to run business. Um, the market sets the wage, right, for what you hired. So a lot of times the market will determine some ways your pricing, because you don't want to price yourself so high that there's nobody competitive with you, and then your business can tank that way. So you gotta stay competitive, and so that's the competition. Just really is really helpful for the market. And then just the law of supply and demand. That sets price too. There's a shortage of vehicles, prices go up. If there's a shortage of uh, you know sometimes, like even in the restaurant business, you'll have a drought, and it'll affect the supply of produce, and so prices go up from that. I don't know the ins and outs of all that stuff, but supply and demand pays into that as well. But yeah, that's some of my thoughts. I'm trying to think some more. I'll let you guys speak to that while I think a little bit more on with the window side
Yeah.
or what.
Yeah, I like what you said about, you gotta price within your market, and you also need to price to your value, the level of value that you're adding. Um, I think it's a lot easier, I think, when you're a solopreneur, because you basically get to decide what you want to charge based on how much you want to make. If you're the one coming up with if you're the one performing the work, you figure out how much you want to make, whether that's $100 an hour, whether that's $80 an hour, whether it's $20 an hour. I have no idea. But it's a lot easier when you're the one doing the work. And then maybe you just do a tiny markup for the cost, of supplies and stuff. But as you grow, as you get employees, as you get leadership, as you get, people who are not technicians or people who are not performing or creating, um, it gets a lot tougher because the costs go up, and you have to dig into that a lot more.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that you can do, if you're looking for ideas on pricing, is there are a lot of people, a lot of business people out there ready and willing to help. So just call other business owners in your industry.
Hmm.
Maybe not necessarily competitors. You could, if you wanted to. Some are willing, some won't be. But find somebody who's not in your area and just reach out and say, "Hey, I'm starting a window cleaning company here. I'd love to know what you guys did, how you started, you're successful," and just reach out and don't be afraid to ask questions. So, those are kind of my thoughts. Zach, what about you? You're kind of coming from both ends of the spectrum. You started out on your own, and that's kind of how you dictated your price. And now we're morphing to really trying to figure out, our cost and our tiny numbers to figure out what we need to charge.
Yeah, so I didn't really go off of cost at the beginning when it was just me. I just went off of um,
You went off the cost of what a Chick-fil-A sandwich costs.
pretty much. Yeah,
How much
pretty
can I how
much.
much can I make to eat a Chick-fil-A sandwich every day?
Right. And I started commercial, so it was really difficult. Like my first job was probably a 35 $40 job and I did it for 15 bucks. I had no idea. Um
Yeah.
so I was just guessing. And of course he was like, "Yeah, go ahead. Sure, that sounds great to me." So it was really hard to figure out at first how to go about setting those prices. But what I figured out down the road is kind of what Tucker was talking about, and it was be more along the lines of what am I going to need to make it worth my time? Am I valuable? Um, do I provide a service that is valuable to these people? Um, and so I think Brad Hyatt told me, know your worth. And so being in the service industry, it was like, I know what I'm worth. I bring trust and integrity. I'm not going to steal, I'm not going to do those things, or take advantage of you in any way. So that has value. So add that to your work. And that was a little bit less in the commercial side, because commercial is like it's a dog eat dog world out there. When you get into commercial, they just want the lowest bidder. They don't care. So you're going to get somebody new coming in for 15 bucks ruining your $45 job. um, so that was really difficult, but what I eventually landed on was how long is this going to take, and I want to make 60 bucks an hour. So in our market, 60 bucks an hour was about what I felt like we could get. And then I just said, okay, this will be half an hour. I can do this job in half an hour. So I'm going to charge 30 bucks, and kind of just did it that way. It's evolved a little bit since then, but that's kind of the goal that I got to. And that's kind of the standard we still use for our commercial today. And I think we're up to like 75 now is kind of where we're trying to push for commercial, but that
Hmm.
that has kind of changed according to our game plan. So we're trying to go a little bit more residential. So the residential side was a little bit different too. um, there's people who just do a flat rate per window. I don't like that because there's storm windows, there's hard water, there's
Hmm.
tracks and screens and all of that kind of stuff. How do you charge for that? I know guys that charge $5 a track, $5 a screen, um, $10 a window across the board. Um, so we kind of did that for a little bit, but we have a system that we have in place, and we trained our estimators to just know like what a low, mid, high, real high, skylight, door, screen, all of that, and we itemize everything like that, and then we do a per uh, category, and so our numbers change per category. And like Justin said, if you ever have questions, if you are in the window cleaning business and you have questions about that, just call, and
Yeah.
I'd be happy to share that with you. Um, but we don't
I,
we don't do a price list online or anything like that. It just gets too complicated.
yeah. I think what you said, Justin, about value is what you're selling. So in a service-based business, you're selling trust, right? And that it has a lot of value to it. Whereas, in the same thing in a business that produces a product, it's trust as well, right? The quality of the item itself, people are willing to pay more for it because they know it's not going to break or it's going to last longer. And so there's a cost side of it, right, where you can just look at cost, and I'm going to charge just a little bit over the cost to undercut the competition and produce value. So I think there's a happy medium sometimes where you can meet both. So an example here, we had our basement being done, and we had a company come in that did it, and they do like 75, 80 basements a year. I mean, this is their business model. And then you have some guys that come in from other sides of construction and want to make some money during the winter time, and so they'll start to advertise basements. They're not as efficient, and they're not as good at what they do because they don't do it all the time, and so they actually charge more and it takes longer. And so the business that does it 70, 80 times, 80 basements a year, they're so efficient they can get them done quicker, and they actually can cut costs for you, and that adds value to me because the quality of the work was still great because they're so good at what they do, you know. Um, and so they had a lot of value based on that. Where the other guy, I mean, they had value, but their pricing was 20 grand more. It was astronomically higher, and so he may get some business, but not a lot. It may get a certain client, right? And so I think it also depends on the value that you add, the target customer you're trying to reach. Like you can undercut all your pricing, but you're not going to be able to do all the business. And so you have to, in order to have some sanity in your life, you got to raise your price to price out some people in some ways. And so there's a lot of factors into it. I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a book that has all the answers. But I think there's definitely a value-based pricing out there versus just going ultimately just to regular costs.
Yeah. I think the two aspects I would try to look for is know your value and know your customer. Those are the two aspects I would kind of boil it down to, because your value is extremely important. And like you said, you have to know your customer. Who are you serving? Are you serving really low income families? There's no wrong doing in that. That's a noble thing. We want to be a help to people who don't necessarily have these resources. We want to build basements for the people who can't necessarily afford it. That's a great and noble cause, and you're going to base your pricing structure on that format.
Mm-hmm.
Versus somebody whose target customer is multi-million dollar net worth people with 6 houses and they have a lake house. You're going to price differently based on the customer that you want to serve and what you want to reach. And then you have to know your value. You have to know what you bring to the table. So yeah, all that's great. So,
and always raise your prices.
Yeah,
like once a year.
Yeah, that's something we got bit on. We really didn't raise our prices for a while. For probably 2 years, we just kind of maintained where we were at. Meanwhile, costs everywhere else go up, right? Fuel has skyrocketed from where it was 4 years ago. So, every other business out there is looking at you like, why are you not raising your prices? You should be. So,
well, then
if you don't,
you're going to get busted, because if you try to raise them every 2 or 3 years, which you're like, well, I'm giving them a discount, they don't see that. All they see is a huge percentage raise, because you have to raise it so much when you should have just been doing like 1%, 2% every year, as opposed to skip 2-3 years and do 5 or 6%. It's just more shocking the other way. So just raise them.
Even with how fast inflation happened in the last couple of years, you have your pricing here, and inflation is raising your costs. Well, if you raise your prices at the same rate, nobody's going to be able to afford it, right? Everybody's feeling inflation, so you have to manage less margin very well. And at some point you do have to raise your price, right? Like everybody had to. But if you're not aware of your costs and whatnot, eventually there's no margin, and you're working for free basically, And no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a delicate balance because yeah, yeah. Feel bad for like just a service in general, and construction. The costs are just all over that place, and that man, that would be hard. But everybody, the great thing about it is everybody struggled with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. So hopefully that answers that question of how to set your prices or how to start setting your prices and what to do with them, and just constantly evaluate them and make sure they're right, for you, for your business, for your market, for your customers, everything. So to, like we said at the beginning, we're going to be talking about mission in this podcast, in this episode. So we came up with kind of a little game that we wanted to play. So Tucker went online and found some popular or some big business mission statements. And so he's got a list of those, and he's going to read them off. And basically, Zach and I just have to try to guess whose mission statement it is. So we're going to take a couple minutes and just play that quick game. Tucker, are you giving us choices, or are we just have to guess from the wide variety of people out there in the business world?
We're gonna have to guess.
Okay.
Some of these are well known, some of these are not. So I'm gonna go with the big brands. All right. First one is inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time.
It's coffee.
It's got to be coffee.
Subtle. Starbucks.
It is Starbucks. Very good. Good job, Zach. All right.
I didn't cheat.
Wait, we doing? We don't both guess? Are we doing like first to guess gets a point? How are we doing this?
Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Is it first to guess?
Or do we both get a guess, and whoever
gets a point? Wrote it down.
One, I'll give you both. The next one, I'll give you both a chance.
All right, Justin, get a pen and write it down. Get a pen and write it down. And we'll do it like that. This will be fun. All right.
Next one is we are in business to save our home planet.
Our home planet?
I have no idea.
Okay, I think I know. Wait,
all I can think of is Pizza Planet.
We are in business to save our home planet?
Yes.
What in the world? Okay, I'm guessing.
I don't even have guesses for these.
I'll give you a hint.
No.
It is a what?
No hint?
Go ahead.
It is a clothing company.
Oh, I was way off. Okay. Thank you for the hint. Okay, clothing company for our home planet.
Say it again. We are in business to save our home planet.
Correct.
Oh, I got a good one.
All right.
I don't know.
This is so bad. I'm going to be embarrassed that I had to write it down.
Okay.
Because I can't spell to save my life.
You could just read it off if you want.
I think I'm ready. All right.
Zach, go ahead first.
Okay. My first guess was before you told clothing was Home Depot. Our home planet. I didn't know if it was a play on words, but when you said it was close, my guess is Patagonia.
Dang it! I did Patagonia too.
I did not spell it right at all.
Correct.
Yes,
it is.
How do you spell Patagonia?
I think you were pretty good. Just write cursive. Nobody will know.
That's true. It's like a doctor. Okay. Next
one. To empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
He said he already hates it.
To empower. Sorry, say it again one more time.
Empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
Okay, I just heard this in a book. And, okay. It's down to 2, and I don't remember which one it is.
To achieve more.
Okay, I think I know where I'm going.
Empower is a key word. All right, you guys ready?
No, I guess. I don't have a good guess.
What do you got?
All right.
I can't read yours, Justin. We can't see it. Microsoft. I've got Apple.
Ooh.
It is Microsoft.
Ah! Yes! I thought IBM. I put IBM in the bottom.
You can't guess 2.
Well, it was my...
Negative 1 point for you.
All right, we're tied.
Oh, both of you are tied. There you go.
I have 2. No, I have 2 points and you have 1.
I got Starbucks.
That didn't count. We weren't, because we didn't set the rules of the game yet.
Whatever.
Starbucks is a practice round.
All right. Everyone should be able to participate and thrive in the economy.
Oh, good grief.
Is it Washington, D.C.?
Everyone should be able to participate and thrive in the economy.
So they are a key player in the economy. Just think about that.
It's a company, right? It's not like an organization. Like
It's a company.
I guess that doesn't make sense, but
Every person should. Good grief, I don't know.
okay.
All right.
I think I'm definitely wrong, but
Oh, I'm wrong for sure.
All right.
Bank of America.
Losers, Bank of America. I have E-Trade.
E-Trade. Close. It was Square.
Ah,
No.
that actually makes a lot of sense.
Right? They broke the barriers, made everybody able to participate in the economy. All
That's
right.
true.
All right, here we go.
I'm loving
kind of connect people to what's important in their lives through friendly, reliable, and low-cost air travel.
Say it again.
To connect people to what's important in their lives through friendly, reliable, and low-cost air travel.
I'm done.
it.
I'm like, I don't know if it's right or not.
I mean, it's not going to be Spirit Airlines. Let's be honest. It's not going to be Frontier.
Bonus point.
Is it Spirit? It's Spirit. I said Southwest.
That's
Is
what I
it-
said.
Is it Spirit?
It is Southwest.
Okay, good.
Hey, bonus points if you know. Bonus points if you know their stock symbol.
Oh,
Love.
bonus points if you know their colors. I don't know.
I heard a comedian say he was on Spirit Airlines, and someone said, "Hey, is there a doctor on board?" And they're like, "This is Spirit Airlines. There's no doctors on board."
That's stinking awesome. Look, we're all going to Disney as cheap as we can, bro. Okay.
We're like, "I watched Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. All right, you're good."
Close enough.
All right, we'll do 2 more.
Okay.
Bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete.
Okay, so I
I have no idea.
Can you say it one more time?
Bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete.
Okay, I think I know.
Are we tied? Or is
3-2.
Justin winning? 3-2? Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
Ooh.
It is Nike.
Yes!
Dang it.
We're tied. gentlemen.
Tied. Down to the last one. This is going to be sweet.
All right, so this.
Chick-fil-A. Come on,
No.
Tucker. You can't set us up like that.
No. This one is a local to the Springfield area. Or
That-
the South.
That is not fair.
Missouri. Yeah, no, it's fine. You are just as capable of answering. Justin.
Bass Pro.
No, I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you what it is. All right. So I'm going to say the Springfield area.
He's like, it's not Bass Pro. Fishing all over the world.
To connect people outdoors by our tracker boats.
Right. All right. This is okay. It's not Springfield. I'll just say it's in the tri-state area right there. Whatever.
Okay.
All right. It is creating memories worth repeating.
Ooh, creating memories worth repeating.
Creating
Is it a
memories.
casino? It's not a casino, is it? Creating memories worth repeating. Springfield area.
I feel like this is some kind of.
It's Bass Pro. You're
I say
deceiving me.
Springfield. It is southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, and it's around that area.
I'm trying to think what we are famous for. All right.
It's a business again?
It is a business.
Okay. So it's not like the city of Branson.
Not the city of Branson. No, it's a business.
That's where retired people go to Disney.
I don't even know if I have.
I think I've got one. I don't know if this is. I don't think this is it.
Say it one more time. Give me 10 seconds.
Creating memories worth repeating.
At first, I thought it was some kind of picture company like Kodak or something, but I don't.
No,
but that was not my guess. We need to do games every podcast. This is fun.
Yeah.
This
is for the win. I don't think this is.
I don't think this is right. I lost. I went with Bass Pro because I don't know what else.
Silver Dollar City.
Lodge.
Silver Dollar City.
Is it really? Yes.
That's a good one. Good guess.
That is awesome.
Great job.
That was cool.
My blood is boiling. Talk about our sponsor.
Silver Dollar City. That was a great guess.
That's good.
Yep. I had no idea. That was fun. We should do that again. But speaking of our sponsor, let's move right into sponsor. I got to see Brother Spivey a couple weeks ago, so that was cool.
Oh yeah, did you?
We talked, and it was fun to catch up. Haven't seen him in a while, and so
to the podcast.
I think so. I think so. I think they watch it on YouTube or listen to us on Apple Podcasts.
That's better. We are sorry to those of you who are viewing on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have this for audio podcasts only.
No, it was fun to talk to him and catch up. I did ask him how many people have used the promo code, and he said 2. So it's better than 0, but come on, people. You got to help us out. I mean, you drink coffee. Just order it. The shipping is free.
It doesn't, help yourself out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's great coffee, and it shows up to your door for free. Like, even Walmart, you have to pay for the delivery thing. It's crazy.
I just got mine yesterday, my subscription.
What'd you get? Which one?
I got the Bali Moon again. I might branch out next time. This is great. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
I am rocking through the decaf K-Cups, KBR cups.
Ooh. How is the decaf? You like it?
It's good. Yeah. Because before I was just drinking Dunkin' decaf because that's about all most stores sell. But theirs is good. Like, it tastes... like when I had Dunkin', I used to have to put like heavy cream and a little bit of oat milk in it so that it is at least enjoyable, because drinking it black just wasn't good. But I don't have a problem drinking theirs black. So you can have the feeling and the comfort and the enjoyment of a cup of coffee at night by the fireplace without staying up all night from it.
You can fuel your addiction without the side effects.
That's what we all want, right?
Yeah, it's good
Whose
stuff, man.
whose mission statement is that? Feel the addiction without the side effects. PF Pfizer.
Comment below who you think.
Oh man, we just got kicked off the internet.
Hmm.
That'd be crazy.
How do you get out of that lawsuit?
Yeah, no kidding. That's nuts. Well, look, their coffee's good. We all know it. Our guys drink it every day at the shop. Um, they're great people. Use the code. I talked to a couple people last week or 2 weeks ago at that big conference, and I had several people who said that they listened to the episodes, and we appreciate that.
But then why are you not buying coffee?
But just buy the coffee. Look, you drink it anyway, so just get it from them. Theirs is good. Good people. Let's support them.
Absolutely.
So check them
Right.
out. The promo code is BizA2EZ, BIZA, the number 2EZ, and then you will get free shipping on any order over $30. They also have cups like we use here on the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, they have their own coffee cups that they can provide you. They also do chocolate covered coffee beans. And like Tucker said, they have subscriptions. So go check them out. Make sure that you are ordering from them. Let's support them. Let's get it up to 4 by the end of the year. Oh, come on. We can do better. We can do better. All right, Tucker, we got to get to business. Let's
Let's
get
go.
into mission statement. What does it mean? How do you set it up? Let's talk about it.
Awesome. Well, mission, in my opinion, is just kind of like trying to define leadership. You ask anybody what leadership means, everybody will give you a different definition. And with mission, there's not one specific way, I think, to craft it, to create it, how big or small. I think it has to just reflect what you're trying to accomplish. So I have read mission statements that are big and beautiful. Uh, and I've read ones that are just short and sweet, and that's kind of where I land because I like to marry my mission with my strategy. We can talk about that later, but uh, the purpose of it to me is if your vision is the destination that you're headed, right? That's the preferred future. That's what you want to be known by. You have to have a vehicle that gets you there. And so even when I talk about this in my own business, I have Pikes Peak really right to my west. You know, it's tough, but so I use that as the vision, right? That's the destination we're headed. In order to get there, we got to have a vehicle. What's that vehicle? And that's where mission comes into play. It's something that you got to accomplish every day, and that gets you to your destination ultimately if you are executing on that. And so it's the vehicle that gets you towards your destination. And so what that also helps you do is it helps you stay on course, right? Helps you stay directed to the destination that you want to do. So, anyways, that's the I think that's for me a great illustration of how mission works in your business. So, Zach, what is your mission or purpose, as some people call it?
So we actually have revised ours. Justin and I, a couple years ago, sat down actually on an airplane, and we worked on our mission statement because we knew it was important. We knew that it would affect the direction of what we were going to be doing at Easy, and so we wrote one based off of what we saw as valuable. And it was a little bit big,
Mhm.
but I appreciated it because it does speak to what we still are trying to do. We've just summarized it over time. So I'll give you the original and then I'll let Justin kind of go into the process from the original down to where we are now. But sitting on the airplane, I had my yellow steno pad and we were writing it out and we were working it out, crossing it out. It was so fun to actually kind of live out that moment. But this is what we came up with. Easy Window Washing is committed to serving our community and each other with integrity, character, and respect. We are dedicated servants, striving to leave things better than we found them, going unnoticed to help you stand out. And so I'll never forget kind of talking through it and trying to explain it and figure out what we wanted to be. The big thing for us was we wanted to be servants. We're in the service industry, and the thing that would set us
Mhm.
apart from our competitors is being a biblical servant and trying to serve
Mhm.
others the way that God has commanded us to serve others. Um, so that was huge. We wanted to serve each other on the team, but also serve our community. And we liked the line. We kind of came up with it, leaving things better than we found them, which kind of just makes sense. But then going unnoticed to help you stand out. We don't want our cleaners to ever like you can't like you never know that they're there, but the
Right.
windows are just spotless. We're not in the way. We're not causing a scene. We just show
Mhm.
up, do our job, and you look great uh,
Yep.
in the process. So that was kind of our first mission statement. And then we've kind of developed it. I should say, probably just flexed it and really worked it and exercised it and brought it down, condensed it. Justin, what is it now, and how did you see that process as CEO of EZ, moving us from that big kind of clunky mission statement down to what we are now?
Yeah. So, I mean, we sat down in a room again and kind of went through the mission statement as we had it, and wanted to boil it down even more. Um, I mean, I'll be honest. This is probably my least area of expertise. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not experienced or have expertise in a lot of areas, but I I still have questions on mission as the years go on because um, I feel like it's a dime a dozen, of opinions on what a mission statement should be and what it needs to be. There's some people who say it needs to be have numbers and have a deadline and that kind of thing. Which in my mind, the way I tend to think about it, that's more on the vision side. Where are we going? Mission
Mhm.
statement to me is where we're at now. What are we doing? I think both mission and vision inform your strategy. But vision is off in the future. What do we want this to look like? And mission is who we are. And so we kind of changed from mission to purpose, which I feel like they're very similar.
Yep.
I don't know if they are. We probably maybe should have a purpose statement and a mission statement. I don't know. It's just stuff that we're always looking at and thinking about. But we changed our purpose. We changed it to our purpose, and that is to glorify God by diligently serving our customers and each other, developing the conqueror within each of us. And we talked about that a little bit on the podcast on a couple episodes ago. But we do that by providing premier residential and commercial cleaning solutions. Um, so, like Zach said, our biggest focus was to make sure that serving was in there somewhere because that's what we do, and we liked having the idea of we don't just serve our customers, we serve each other, and we're here to be servants, right? And
Right.
ultimately, what we want to do as a company, you don't have to be this way as a company, but ultimately, what Zach and I wanted was to glorify God, and we do
Mhm.
that by serving others, not just our clients, but our ourselves as well, our team, our teammates. Um, so that's kind of we just boiled it down to that. We wanted a little more succinct, a little more punchy, I guess.
Yep.
But I could see it changing in the next couple of years too. I think that's
Yeah.
something that your mission can change. It's fluid, just like your
Mhm.
vision. These are living documents. They're living things. They're changing as our culture change, our times change, your processes, maybe even what you do as a company. But
Mhm.
we just kind of looked at it. Okay, our mission, our purpose, that sounds very cohesive. What's our purpose? What are we
Yep.
doing here? How do we boil that down? So that's kind of how I view it. I view it, it's very connected with your vision.
Mhm.
But I see it as vision in the future. What do you want 3 to 5 to 10 years? Mission, what are we today? What are we now? What are we doing in the moment? So
Right.
that's kind of how I view it, as
Yep.
uneducated as that is.
No, I struggled with that early on because I didn't fully grasp the concept. Because, like you said, you hear purpose, you hear mission, you hear vision, and I didn't know how they all work together. And I think just getting something on paper and just starting out, like you said, it's fluid and it changes over time. Mine, I continually revisit over and over again. Uh, in the way I craft it, if this is what we're wanting to accomplish in the moment. But like you said, it does change with window cleaning. I'm pretty partial to taglines. I like play on words, all those things. My team knows me for that. But with window cleaning, it was brightening your day. And so the play on words is literally we're there to interact with you and bring, some brightness to your day through our interaction. But then also we were literally cleaning your windows and brightening your home. And so, uh, and
That's
so
awesome.
it really helped in that when we went there and we cleaned their windows, we were accomplishing our mission. And when we were leaving them with a smile on their face by the interaction we had, we were accomplishing our mission. Um, and so that was helpful. And then for my business currently, I read a book called The Power of Moments. I think you may have read that, right, Justin? Or on mute. You're on mute.
I haven't read it yet. It's on my stack right here, but I
Okay.
haven't read through it.
So I read that, and that was very helpful to me, informative in my current mission statement, which is creating moments worth remembering. And I'll say this: I had that crafted before I found out what Silver Dollar Cities was. They actually have theirs printed on their season passes, and I read it one day, and I was like, "Huh, that's interesting." But and so that helps us get to our mission, or sorry, our vision for the company. And so what I tell our team is every interaction that you have, or every with guest and team member, we need to leave them with a positive memory, positive moment in that interaction to where they want to come back over and over again because of the experience that they had. They felt cared for. And so uh, I always say we're not interested in transactions, we're interested in customer interactions. And so that makes it more, than just a transaction of money. And that's why we take their name instead of giving them a number in some ways. We want to make it personable. And so you can see how your mission influences the actions that you want in your business. Uh, and so, yeah, that's been very helpful. But again, I do like the short and sweet ones because I want my team to remember it. And so I'll ask them from time to time, "Hey, what's our mission?" Or we repeat it in our leadership meetings. We go over vision, we go over mission, almost for just rote memory. And so I'll ask them and quiz them on it, and they'll say it. And so I just want them to be ingrained in it. And so I think having it short and to the point helps with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be okay to have a longer one.
Oh,
But nobody's going to remember that, and it's not going to have near the weight of
right.
a short, really impactful one. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you have a longer one, even if you want to develop, one that's 2, 3, 4 sentences long, I would frame it up with something short and concise that kind of encompasses all of it. And that's what we did too, because ours is
Yeah.
serving God, developing conquerors. Like
Right.
Right.
that's our purpose boiled down to two extremely short statements,
Yep.
and then it's
That's great.
developed off of the bigger one. So um,
I
yeah,
will say this: as we went through that game, and you identified the right companies, you can see how they accomplish their mission, right? Like
Mm.
Square was to allow everybody to participate in the economy. Well, that's so true because that little square box allowed everybody to be a business owner, you
Right.
know?
mhm,
Your yard
Um,
sale can take card. It's crazy.
yeah, right. So they really accomplished that. Patagonia, I know from their business practices about recycling and even just reusing. Like I think you can even send in your old Patagonia worn out stuff. They'll reuse the material and make stuff and donate it or something like that. They do. They have a lot of initiatives that way. Uh, yeah. So you can see how your mission it's connected to the things that you do every day. So, but now, how do you create one?
Hmm.
How
It was
how do you go about it? Right.
right. Well, for us, it was we realizing we needed to have one
Yeah. Yeah.
because, like, you don't really think about it. I
Hmm.
don't think, but you do need it. It is necessary, or you're flying without a plan of where you're going.
Right.
You're
So I
just
think,
gonna be blown with the wind.
yep. So I think in creating it, just create something, right? Just get it on paper, something that's actionable that you can do every day. Uh, I think my Bible college experience helped me craft short and sweet, whole, actionable sentences, right? And it's by using like how and by statements. You know, how am I going to brighten people's day? By providing uh, great premier service, like you said, and fantastic customer interaction, right? So you have the how statement, which is a question, and then the by is the answer, and then when you marry them together, you kind of get your statement. So,
That's a great point. Like that's kind of what we just that's what the conclusion we came to. Justin and I spent a lot of time talking about what do we want our guys to be? Well, we want them to be conquerors, and we want
mhm,
them to be conquerors in business, and we want them to be conquerors in life. We want them
mhm,
to be conquerors as husbands, as dads, as men in the community, as men in their church. We want them to be conquerors. And the world, especially the world of business, says if you're going to be a conqueror, you have to kill, or you have to do whatever it takes to get ahead, or fight, or play dirty. Do whatever you need to do to win. But the Bible makes it clear that the way to become the greatest is by being the least.
right,
And so become a servant and you will develop into a conqueror. And that's such a paradigm shift for people who aren't believers or who aren't around God's word. But
mhm,
the way you win and the way you get ahead in life and the way that you get lifted up and propped up by God is by serving. And
right,
so that's why our mission statement boils down to serving God, developing conquerors. The way that we're going to create what we want these men to be and these women to be is by teaching them to serve the way that God has commanded them to serve.
mhm,
And so it's the how too. It's the why because and you really do hinge everything on those questions and answers.
right. And then what I once you create uh, that those question and answers, I always like to add the word to at the beginning, and that helps me. So like to create moments worth remembering, to brighten people's day, right? Uh, that kind of gives an action to it. It's almost written in a very actionable way, I guess you could say. So that those are just some tips that I've stumbled across, have come to the conclusion of in some ways. But either keep a long version, and keep a short one. I think that's great. Like you have the several sentences, and then you can have your little tagline. You know what I mean? Like Nike is all about uh, creating athletes, right? And then their tagline is "Just do it." You know, they kind of go together in some ways. So,
Yeah.
any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just thought about, if you're trying to create a mission statement, the easiest way to do it is to ask yourself questions and then answer those questions. That's what Zach and I
Mm-hmm.
did. Tucker, you alluded to that a little bit, and just answer those questions. And so these questions, I have 4 questions. These are from Michael Hyde's book, The Vision Driven Leader. So obviously that book is about vision specifically, but in relation to mission, he does spend a couple pages in there talking about mission specifically. And so what he says about creating a mission and forming a mission statement, answer these 4 questions. Number 1, who are we? Number
Mm-hmm.
2, who do we serve? Right. So ours is we are conquerors, or we are trying to be conquerors. We serve God. We serve others. We serve ourselves. We serve our team. Number 3, what problem do we solve? So this relates specifically to what you're doing as a company, what service you provide. And then number 4 would be, what transformation do we deliver? Right. So, you know, Tucker, yours kind of encompassed all of that to brighten your day. Well, there's many facets, there's many bullet points underneath of that, but
Right.
boiled all the way down to that one thing, you can come up with answers for all 4 of these questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're trying to come up with a mission statement, you don't know where to start, just start with those 4 questions. Who are we? Who do we serve? what problem do we solve, and what transformation do we
That's
provide?
great. That's great. That's great. Um, and before we get into the closing section or whatnot, these principles that we talk about in these episodes are not unique to business. Like these are, to me, these are
Mhm.
transcendent truths that are found in the Bible. If you think about the vision of the church or the vision of God's vision for humanity or whatnot, think of Revelation, and then you think of the mission of the church. We call it the Great Commission, right? It's actionable. It's something that you do every day is make disciples. And so these are principles not that are again unique just to business. These are transcendent truths that work in all organizations, work in your family life, work in your business, work in the church. Like to me, that just reaffirms that this is good business practices because it's
Mhm.
beyond the business realm.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
heard of families that have mission
that's what I was
statements
going to ask.
for their
Tucker,
family.
do you guys have one? Justin, do you guys have one?
We don't have one. We should.
We
It
we
seems a
have
lot
one.
harder to come up with than for a business, but
Yeah, no, there's a good book called The Family ID, and he talks about that same idea. And so we had one, and it was I need to I've been mulling on revamping it, uh, and my kids are a lot older now, so they can contribute to it. And so it was, and I got to find it somewhere, but it was about basically glorifying God by growing personally, uh, or growing in our relationship with the Lord, growing as a family together, and then serving others around us. Basically, that was it was kind of like personal, family oriented, and then those around us. And it was basically that our family verse was Revelation 4:11. So we had things like that. I need to revisit it and
Yeah.
craft it.
Mine has kind of bled into the business. We haven't written anything down or really did it with the boys because they were too little to even understand. And that's probably not an excuse. Probably should have started a lot earlier. But it
Yeah,
really would fall down to what the business ended up being, which is
sure.
serve God and develop conquerors. I have 3 boys. I want
Yep.
them to be conquerors. I want them to win
Right.
at life. I want them to be leaders. I want them to be effective in the community. And so I would want them to be a conqueror in life. And again, the way they do that is by serving others and serving God. So
Yep.
it really would be pretty similar to the same thing, just with more focused and intentional goals for daily
Yeah.
life. Make your
Yep.
bed, kid.
yeah,
Clean out your ears, all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
yeah, it's probably
Awesome.
something that I should do or I want to do. I just haven't. Um, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, mine would be to our mission or my mission as a person or as a family would be to find the best Philly cheesesteak on the planet. That's all I got at the
Yeah.
moment. But I mean, other than that, I'd have to dig deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Philly cheesesteak, really? That's what you
Patty
go
Mel,
with?
I want to find the best food on the planet. Period. I
Right.
mean, any form
Seems
of
like
that.
another podcast. Here we go.
Around the world
Great.
with
What have we
Justin B.
done? What have we done? Um,
So,
so let's talk about books. Where are you guys reading? What are you reading right now?
I'm reading a bunch of stuff. Um, I'm reading. Let's see, a lot of like family books right now. But the one that I want to recommend is this one,
Hmm.
The Way of the Shepherd. Now, you'd think this would be a biblical book on leadership, and it is. But it's written in a narrative form. It tells a story about a guy who's graduating college, or he's going into the business world, and somebody comes along and teaches him principles of leadership through the avenue of a shepherd. And phenomenal book, probably the best book on leadership I've ever read, and I will stand by that because it's short, it's sweet, the principles are great, and you could literally, I think I listened to the book in like 3 hours. And so, but the truths in there are biblical, and they're phenomenal. So highly recommend.
I was just going to say the best book I've ever heard on leadership is the Bible, but whatever. It's all good.
That's such a
Gotta
cop
be that
out.
guy. I know. Sorry. I've kind of gone to the inspirational. I did just finish Business Wise, the Infinite Game that we talked about a couple weeks ago, or a couple episodes ago by Simon Sinek. It was great. It really did change some things in my perspective. So I would recommend that book. But I told you last episode that I'm going more on the inspiration side. Last time I did The Boys in the Boat. So this time I am going to recommend Unbroken. So fantastic book.
Good movie.
Good movie, but the book was obviously so much better. And I hate that I even said
just
that, but
teasing.
like I always said I'll never be that guy, but I'm serious. When I finished it, I remember where I was driving down the road because I listened to it, and driving down the road when it finished, and I was just bawling. I was just crying because it was like it was everything you want to be and everything you're not. So it was super convicting and super humbling, but at the same time, unbelievably inspirational and made you thankful for what God's done for you. And it was just awesome. It really was awesome and helped me in my personal life, but also helped me in the business life. Um, do more, be stubborn and work hard. And man, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. So I tried to think of a book relating to mission. I don't know that I've read anything specifically that relates to mission itself or standalone. I mean, obviously, a lot of leadership and business books will relate to that or allude to it, but um, so I don't know that I have a recommendation. But what I'm reading currently, one of the books I'm reading right now is called Predictable Success by Les McEwen, and so that book is about different stages of business, and he kind of has this graph of the top would be predictable success, and that's when things are at their best and things are working at their best, and then he kind of goes along, I think it's 7 different stages on that scale of what businesses go through. So um, been enjoying that. I'm about halfway through that. That's pretty good. um, After Tucker, you've been talking about 7 Habits for the last several weeks. I started reading that again because I haven't read that. It's been 10 years since I read that. I was in college, so um, started reading that again, and it's just a great book to read. So I mean, that would be my recommendation. It's been recommended the last 3 episodes, but um, it's just great all around for every aspect of life. You can't think of anything that it doesn't apply to.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 Habits, that's been great reading back through that.
Fantastic.
What else?
All right. Well, like, subscribe, follow. I looked at the analytics of our podcast the other day. It was kind of cool to see. We started out hot with 32 listeners.
Woo!
I'll take that. And
Then
then
why
the
do we only
second,
have 2 coffee
that's what I'm
orders?
saying. It doesn't make any sense. But then the second week, it dropped down to 17. So let's get those numbers back up. And we appreciate the 17 who followed. Grandma,
Hey, you know
mom,
what?
we'll
Yeah, how
take
We're
many
just
them.
of
gonna be
those are your?
persistent, and this is
Yeah.
just good for me, just to talk it out. If anybody doesn't listen, this is still great.
No, that it really is worth it because I just love hearing. I love talking business.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So if you love business, thanks for being on the journey with us. I hope it is a help to you. But like, subscribe, comment, review, do whatever
Send
you
us
need to do.
questions.
Click the
Send us
bell.
questions.
Yes, please
Any
send us some more
questions?
questions. Um, uh, I think we asked for your mission statement. I would still want to hear your mission statement. Maybe you develop one after this episode. Go on our
Yeah.
Facebook page and share it with us. We'd love to hear about it. And if you're interested in being in some interviews, reach out and we will start to compile a list. That's going to be probably another segment that we end up doing here, where it probably will be its own little deal within our podcast, where we do
Mhm.
specific interviews with some of you who own businesses and some other people. Hopefully, we can get maybe some sharks from Shark Tank or something eventually. That'd be sweet. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? Aim
I mean,
big, right?
there's your vision.
That would be stinking awesome. So, anyway, if you want to be a part of this or would like to have a shout out on air, on the podcast or however you say that, comment, and we would love to share that and get your name out there as well.
What's our
Anything
next
else?
episode?
Core values. I'm actually excited about this one.
Yeah, me too.
So
There's a
Tucker,
lot to
real
talk
quick,
about in there.
kind of like a spoiler. I know Chick-fil-A has their values. Do you have separate, or do you just reinforce theirs?
I have my own, which
Nice.
I would use for my family too. Like
Oh,
they're very. I feel like these are the genesis of greatness. Say it that way.
that's awesome. I would use ours for our family too, Justin. I think ours are great. I really like
Sure.
ours. Obviously, I like them.
Ours are
We made them
Chick-fil-A,
up.
so
Yeah. So I'm excited though to talk about them, kind of work through them. So we'll be back next week talking about the core values. Before we go, order coffee. Justin, tell them where to find it.
coffeebunroastery.com. Yo.
That's right. Facebook, Kaffa Bun Roastery. Go order it. Let's double their numbers by next week's episode.
I mean, for
That
Pete's
would be
sake, how
awesome.
hard is it to double from 2 to 4?
It's not
It's
that hard. And then we should double from 4 to 8, and then from 8 to 16, and kind of do it like that. I think it'd be awesome.
Be awesome.
All right, well, that's it. That's what we got.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Go eat some chicken and clean your windows. Wait, I think I said it backwards. Clean your windows and eat some